Hey everyone, this is Steve out on a Saturday morning. I'm running a slow run today because I'm trying to extend the distance. So I've got a 6-mile loop here, and that'll be the longest since recovery. I am taking it slow. Oh, here we got a car coming by.
I had hands, I'd high-five you.
So I started listening to the Extra Mile podcast 152. Started out with Jim Daly. I think he was saying something about, well, I don't know if it was Jim or Kevin, about running those long runs extra slow for Chris Twiggs. So we'll call this, as Carlos calls it, heart-healthy podcasting pace. Because I've been pushing a little bit more lately. I'm currently on Paletown Road, south of where I live. So it's in parallel to my own road, just the next through street that goes along here. So I went out to 313 south and up a little hill to Paletown Road. I think my most recent longest run I was at Lake Towhee and I thought it was a 3-mile around the block. Turned to be something like 5.3. It's in the 8 o'clock hour. Saturday, and it's a chilly morning. We hit 32 degrees, I think, just as the sun was coming up. It's supposed to get up to 60 something. Oh, this week I signed up for a 5K in November 12th. And that is in support of the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. Our friend Jim Crook, who I've mentioned many times. This week he passed away on October 10th. It was kind of interesting because he had normal vital signs. But an infection seemed to have gotten into his brain. And the doctors just didn't know what was going on or how to treat it. I think Jim was weary of the fight. You know, all the treatment, sometimes all that they put into your body can affect your attitude, your mood, and it just wasn't like him. So we are sad, but rejoicing for two things. One, the end of the struggle. No more. And then two, we believe we shall see him in the resurrection. And so that gives us hope. It was said of the early Christian church that they did not despair at the thought of death, not because they were heroic, but because Jesus was their hero who had conquered death first. And so that was something that distinguished them. So this morning I'm running a 5-minute run, 1-minute walk pace. And I think at this slow pace, no problem. But I adjusted it on, I don't know what day that was I ran at work. Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday. Let's see, I'm looking at a collie mix. Running back and forth. Beautiful dog. But obviously he's got a wireless fence. I almost thought he was on a leash at first because the way he seemed to hit his limit so consistently, but it's got to be a wireless fence. All right, I'm done harassing the dog. So what's going on today? Margie is done with working at the fruit picking farm. So apples are either all done or they're reserved for farmer's market. So the owner of the farm where she's been working the last several years retired. So he can do more in his spare time, meaning he can go out and pick the apples a little more frequently, choose the best. And then he also presses some for cider. So we have, 5 half-gallons of fresh pressed apple cider. I remember last year somebody making the comment, maybe it was me, maybe one of the kids. It was like drinking liquid apple. Of course it's liquid apple. What she meant was, I think it was Anna, that the tartness that comes with certain varieties was all captured, just like. Hold on here. Instead of pausing, I try to plug up the microphone hole, I think. Good morning. So I'm just passing in front of Quakertown Christian School's main campus here on Paletown. Some activities going on. Not wearing my glasses, can't really tell. If I wanted to go further today, which I don't, I turn left here on Rocky Ridge, because I think it hits Rock Hill. You could take Rock Hill to Muskrat, which for a very short period becomes Smoketown. And if that harkens back to tobacco growing days, which then comes back out at Paletown just down the road here, pretty close. I actually seem to be able to practice some self-discipline today for keeping my pace slow and steady. I will pass by my in-laws' house on this run. I know from Paletown past their house, it's downhill. there I will need to practice more self-control. So all that talk about apple cider and apples, so Margie does not have to go anywhere today. But in town, originally I was thinking of running a different route, ending up meandering through town. Today in Quakertown it's called Autumn Alive. And it's kind of an event for the day, celebrating autumn. Forgive the noise here. I'm passing somebody's house I'm going to wave at from church who's a runner. My name is Stephanie. Lives next to the railroad tracks here. So I waved just in case, like I always do. I know who lives where I'm passing by. I'm passing by Moyer's Chicks, I think. So they raise chicks to sell for who knows what purpose besides Easter. All right. So yeah, they have a few events. There's maybe a 501c3 group called Quakertown Alive, and they have Arts Alive and Autumn Alive, and this is just one of those events. The funny thing about today's event is if you visit it, you'd think it was Dogs Alive, because vendors are out there with homemade doggy biscuits. Get your picture taken with the dog. Bless the dog. I don't know. It's all centered around dogs, which to me, I don't get. I love dogs. I would like a dog. We've talked about that in the past. But yeah, it's all things dog. Hey, yesterday, thanks to the email that David Faust pushed, I listened to both his most recent, I guess yesterday's podcast, the Rock Hard Ultra or Marathon, I don't remember, but anyway, hard is what it seemed to emphasize. Is not an easy race, and only 7 participants, and evidently the second and final, probably because either they're operating on a shoestring or it's all up to the individual as to how they support. So either self-supported or self-directed, no stations for relief. It sounds like with 7 participants, there's virtually no budget except for maybe timing. Could be getting a little more traffic on this road because there's a detour that blocks off my parents' or in-laws' house. Coming up here on Smoketown. So I really appreciated David's race report, and then I went and listened to episode number 1, and then started to listening to another episode somewhere in the middle about running with friends I think it was all the different and interesting people you met during a 50-mile race. I always wondered what ultra runners do for tracking, since your tracking watches or phones, they don't do that forever very well. Battery technology is always improving, but I guess not to exceed 7 hours, at least on that watch. So anyway, David, thank you for sharing. Sometimes I forget to check for podcasts because I'm listening to other things. I really thought this would be a less trafficy road. But maybe due to that detour, not so much. All right. Thanks to David. And back to today. So, autumn alive. And maybe as a family we'll go down there and see what's going on, see if there's anything. Take in the sights and the people. That's always interesting. Now Margie, she's been feeling so well, she's all congested. And I've been drained of energy toward the end of the day. So I've been napping. And the nap does wonders. I mean, only 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I feel normal again. So we keep skipping out on things. So for example, our small group, I just didn't want to drive to the location where it was meeting. It's down past a town called Colmar. It's like a 25-minute drive. And just didn't feel up to arriving back home late. I've got one hand that is gloved. So just a simple brown knit glove, just your fingers fit just barely. I think they're Margie's gloves. She may not appreciate knowing that I'm using them, but I need to find something like this. But it's keeping the hand decent. But I took off the other one, my right hand, so I could operate the phone. And also the other iPod. Where I was listening to Extra Mile Podcast 152. So I had that paused. Needed my fingers to do that. So tonight, there's a group sharing about their experiences working in the Muslim world for 25 years and want to educate people on what it's like to work in that community, how to connect and make decent relationships. So we may go to that. Beautiful black classic Camaro. As I started my run this morning, I went through the Q-Mart parking lot, and they're gearing up for a classic car and souped up classic car show in the parking lot there. We usually do walk to the Q-Mart because it's so close. But on a day like today, that's all the more reason to, because parking is going to be crazy during the car show. Alright, the end of Paletown Road isn't too much further. I think it will be an end to the car traffic for half a mile or so, maybe a mile. Not sure what the distance between Paletown and Station Road is. So that's what we've got going on for the weekend. Mostly I want to make sure that Margie is resting so she gets better. So if any of those get skipped, they get skipped. .333 Paletown Road. Nice bold letters or numbers in their mailbox. Thought I would have passed the place that sells snowmobiles. By now called Trumbauer's. So maybe my reaching of Paletown isn't quite yet. Alright, well, that's about it for my report on this beautiful, cool Saturday. So I'm running with 2 t-shirts and a light, bright-colored windbreaker.
Wherever you go, I go.
Alright, I'm finally in front of Trumbauer's. Well, it looks like small tractors, lawnmowers. So I think seems like they had a bigger business, and maybe they dropped, lawn and recreation, that's what it says. I know there's another portion that maybe pulled out and moved over to Milford Square. They didn't take the name with them. They must have sold off part of the business for more things like I said, snowmobiles, water skis. Okay, that's a turkey, but not a wild one. So it's a domesticated turkey in a pen. A turkey among many chickens. So I assume that they would pen those up for the night. Otherwise, predators would make easy work of them. Speaking of chickens and predators and such, so we have another friend named Rob. Rob is a wacky kind of guy. lovable, sometimes a bit offensive, just in a dumb way, but nice guy, really nice guy, generous, big-hearted guy. And when I lost my job in 2013, he would show up with a couple dozen eggs from his chickens. Until one day he said, "Hey, a fox got into my chickens and they're all dead." So that was the end of the eggs. And then the next time he showed up, he said, "Here, here's, I don't know, $100. Like ridiculous." He says, "Since I can't give you eggs, let me give you money for eggs for a little while." Okay, just about 100 feet from Paletown. A little relief from car traffic for maybe half a mile. There's a detour here and detour at Tollgate Road. I think they're repairing a bridge. Not a bridge like you'd think, like a truss bridge, but just a cement circle pipe under the road, because I think they've had to limit the weight allowed to travel over it, and that oddly affected my in-laws' trash pickup. So they get a notification from their garbage delivery saying, "Hey, we can't come to your house anymore." They said, "We'll just go around Paletown Road." No, we're not doing that. Service first. So anyway, Rob, this crazy generous friend, posted last week that his days are numbered. I think it's kidney failure. He says his kidneys are only functioning 10%. And I think he's done some dialysis, and he says, God has been very good to me. I'm not upset, and I'm ready to go. So he's probably not even 60 yet, I'm thinking. So he has 3 grown kids and an ex-wife. I think this all stems from something that happened to him maybe 15 or 20, maybe 20 years ago. He was hospitalized, and his organs weren't functioning properly. I just passed by my in-laws. I did not wave at them, but I did visit them yesterday. And I think this is probably what he's encountering now. His health is all related to that. But the sad part is, when he was going through all of those health issues, the medications they put him on, there was a time when you could say his personality changed. Now, I'll be careful here to say that I remember reading a book called Blame It on the Brain, ? Talking about brain injuries and things that affect. It's talking about how, we normally keep a guard up. We govern ourselves. We may think thoughts but not say them. We may harbor things we don't want anybody to see. Not say things we feel the inclination to say. But something that weakens our brain kind of brings the wall down, and that stuff spills out. So it's not blaming it on the limited function of the brain, but what's there already. Anyway, could be controversial, but anyway, it's a good thing to note. And the person who wrote it gave some examples of a father who was living at home with Alzheimer's, and the children, the mom and dad, they had their young children. So it's a 3-generation situation where I'm not sure what that is. So I just passed the bridge in question. Excuse me, still got a runny nose. So the grandfather started saying things in an unseemly way and started behaving in an unseemly way. And they were encouraged to just confront him, not excuse it, but to say, hey, you don't behave that way. And I saw an immediate change. Like he was confronted with his behavior, and there was something he could do about it. Just that his inclination wasn't there anymore as much. Anyway, interesting. So at some point, when Rob was on medication, he started saying and behaving unkindly toward his wife. And I think it shocked her. Like she never could have imagined him treating her that way. And eventually led to their split and divorce. So they're both unmarried. She owns a Taekwondo studio. Oh, enjoying the sunshine here. So anyway, Rob, I don't know how long he has. He just knows not long. Feeling great today. Again, because I'm pulling back my inclination to run a race. On Wednesday, went out for over 2 miles. And of course, don't you know, I'm looking at one of my trackers saying I ran a 10:07 average pace, and my pride is beaming. And of course I want to improve. However, just gotta be careful. So I took a calculated, one, it's a short distance, 2, I'm not running crazy, but just enjoying the pace. And I think I did keep my intervals in there. All right, well, hey, I'm coming to the end of the detour, and it's going to be Traffic City again. So, Steve, on Saturday, I will go back to listening to the extra mile on 152 to finish things up. But you all enjoy your extra mile, etc. in the coming days. So good having you along. Always passes the time nicely. And we'll catch up again soon. Take care now.